Episode 0, I'm Andy Sikora.
And I'm Matt Kitchen. Social Truth is the internet television show for the website socialtruth.com, the social news discussion site where we take a look at the top news stories about politics, entertainment, world affairs, consumerism, religion, and everything else that floats our boat. Then we discuss what tells us about truth in our society. So let's get things rolling.
All right, first story. Justices to revisit late-term abortion ban. The Supreme Court said on Tuesday it would consider reinstating a federal ban on what opponents call partial birth abortion. And this happened on the first day of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito's, I guess it's not a reign on the Supreme Court, but his first day at the job.
Right, they serve a life, not I say a life sentence, but
yeah.
It's not really a life sentence.
So they're there forever.
They're there forever until they retire.
Or they get decrepit.
Decrepit, which
I'm not going to say which one was decrepit recently.
I was going to, so thanks for stopping me.
Yeah, no.
Okay, Alito's first day on the job, he sits down in his chair.
Yes.
Probably leather chair.
Yeah.
And
wearing that black robe dress.
Right, and he gets handed a list of papers that say, should we ban abortion, late-term abortion, or not?
I bet he was shocked. I bet as a Republican who got put in as a Republican to replace a more liberal judge, he was like...
In hopes that he would ban abortion.
Yes, he was like, oh man, I never thought this would come.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
So I honestly thought it was going to take a little while to happen, but pretty much right away it happened.
Yeah.
So, okay, late-term abortion, it's an abortion that hits in the... Sorry, this might get a little graphic, and I apologize, so take your kids out of the room, which I'm sure they or you are not watching.
I'm sure the whole family's gathered around. I'm sure families all across America are sitting around the warm glow of their computer screen watching a 1-inch box of us.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, that gives me a good fuzzy feeling.
Late-term abortion is...
Late-term abortion does not give me a fuzzy feeling.
No.
It happens in the late second and third trimesters of the pregnancy, which the baby is almost completely formed at that time.
Sure.
And what they do is they unfortunately basically stick something into the baby's head.
Sure.
And then pull it out.
Right.
Which we're not going to go completely pro-life on your butt right now or anything like that. But basically, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's killing a infant in the womb, which is sad. So I was already under the impression that some of the late-term abortion was in fact banned. And I'm still kind of unsure if it's on like just a state level that we're talking about here or what.
I know certain states they have banned it in certain states.
Okay.
This if it passes or if the Supreme Court rules in favor of this law, it would make it totally illegal to perform a late-term abortion.
Just across the nation.
Across the nation, throwing anybody in jail who does it. And actually, there was a law passed in 2003 by both Congress and Senate, and George Bush signed it into law. But it was never enacted because states thought that it was too widespread or too far-reaching because it didn't protect the health of a mother. If a mother's life was in danger for whatever reason, so it hasn't been enacted, and that's why they can bring it back.
Right, and the states that shut that down, if my memory serves me correctly, are Nebraska, which this case is currently deciding in, and then also California. Surprise there, and New York.
They're actually in California. They're big fans of Judge Alito. Did you know?
Shut up.
Did you know that Judge Alito was the judge in the O.J. Simpson trial? I think. Maybe that's Judge Ito.
Judge Ito.
Ito, not Alito. Two different people.
I know. If we didn't rehearse that joke, I would have laughed so much.
Yeah, I know. I
hopefully
this whole show's rehearsed. we have a team of crack writers in the pack. Something interesting that I saw yesterday and on the internet was in South Dakota, the state legislature voted 23-12 to pass a bill that would ban all abortions across the board, all abortions except for those that endangered the health of the mother. They still have to take it to the other house or whatever and then get it passed by the governor. But in South Dakota, there's people who are saying they would give the state $1 million to defend this case all the way up to the Supreme Court to ensure that
it passes?
All abortions would be
so people are financially, there's private people that are financially backing this to get it all the way through. And banning abortion completely is a big deal, obviously, because it really hasn't been done anywhere yet.
Right.
To my knowledge, at least.
Sure, there's certain countries where it's illegal.
Oh, yeah.
But in America?
In the stateside, not at all. And South Dakota, I know we don't think of them as the...
They set the trends for the nation.
That's right.
I set the trend.
We always look at South Dakota to see what we should do.
Yes.
But no, I mean, I think that's an interesting thing, and the fact that it was I don't know 23-12 is
twice as many.
Yeah, that's more than just a minor majority.
It's interesting to me. So, I think that this will be a huge deal this year going into the elections in the fall, which is actually when the Supreme Court will hear that case we were talking about, and then again in 2008. It's strange to me because 1973 was Roe versus Wade. That was almost 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And still, this is one of the top issues on how people are elected, why people choose political parties.
I think that's really, like, abortion defines people's choice for voting sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I think some people might disagree with a candidate's entire platform, but if they're pro-life or pro-choice, they might end up landing on that party because they feel so strongly about this.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's hard. It's hard to pick, a candidate for one issue, but some people feel so strongly about it. I think it's like buying a car just because it has a sweet spoiler, and then the rest of the car might be a piece. Like a Yugo with a sweet spoiler. If you really want a spoiler, that's fine, but you're going to pay the price in the long run. Obviously, it's not the same thing.
Right.
But
well, and obviously, George Bush is pro-life.
Sure.
But he's not going to be the one that passes a bill he doesn't start that. All he would have would be a veto power.
Veto or sign it into law.
Sign it into law. Right. And so, at the same time, it's going to, if it's a person that's pro-choice and a pro-life goes through, he's going to veto it, obviously. So
when Clinton was in power, I mean, it sounded like he's the king.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's go. But when Clinton was in charge, there was definitely a Democrats' standpoint that abortion should be legal. And in 2000, right before Bush got into the presidency, they had actually passed a law saying that it was okay to do partial birth abortions. It seems to me that whoever's in power and whoever can put the most people on the Supreme Court, they will get what they want done. Like, it seems to me that those, even though we live in a democracy, those with the most power still get their way. That seems a little scary to me.
Those with the most power get their way.
Yeah, and those who don't have the most power, their voice isn't heard anymore.
Right. Define power.
Well, I guess the power can go anywhere, like from basically seats in Congress, seats on Senate, person who's the president, to people who have the most money. I mean, here we have $1 million in South Dakota to defend a law. So if let's say the people who are pro-choice,
you see a lot of that going on right now. Right. Money is where there's a lot of court cases going on right now.
In government, people are taking money for things. I did not say that.
Oh, that's crazy.
Do not say that over the phone.
Yeah, you
That's
did.
another story.
So people with the most power are defining our society in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel, as a person not in a power position, do you feel like you have any control, any say in the government in general?
Well, I think people would like to believe that they still have a voice, but I think that basically you either have a voice if you're supporting the person who has the most power, or you're trying to get someone else into power. That's pretty much all you have.
Right.
Because I really, honestly, this is going to make everybody in America sad if they hear this, and I'm sure everybody in America is watching this right now on their computer.
It's a pilot episode.
I think one voice and one vote really doesn't make the difference that we are led to believe it does.
Right. It's such a, and this is probably a topic for a completely different discussion, but it's such a, not even, I don't think paradox is the right word there, but the fact that if you don't vote next election, I don't think it's going to hinge on that.
Right, yeah.
But if enough people think like you, then it does hinge on that.
And I think a lot of people actually do think like that. And then they don't vote, and it does affect the outcome of elections. Like, liberal or Democratic counties or whatever, they may not vote if they think it's going to automatically go to the Republican. They might just go, hey, it's cold in November, I don't want to go outside, I'm real busy, it's a pain in the butt to stand in line. Although all those things may be true, if enough people don't vote, then it's automatically handed to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know, we can talk about that.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I think it says a lot about society, though.
I think it says
there's 100 things we just
society.
talked about society in there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next.
Next story.
Next. All right, next story. Online Olympics boost NBC.
Which is kind of a joke, I think.
Right, which we'll get to once I read this story. Okay. Let's see. Olympics fare better online than off, but don't signal big change in viewer habits. Basically, the Winter Olympics have been a dud on television for official broadcaster NBC. But the scene is totally different on the internet, where the Olympics site is making money for the first time. Analysts say. Tuesday. Yeah,
I love analysts.
I know.
They're beautiful
how do you,
people.
is there, never mind.
Analysts prove points for people, I think.
Yeah, if you pay them enough, they prove your point,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay, so two facets or sides of the story, if you will.
Sure.
First, the Winter Olympics have been a dud on television.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Have you ever watched the Olympics? Of course they're done on television.
No, don't get me started on that, because I enjoy the Olympics, all right?
Okay,
I know you don't. Well, I'm sure we will get started on that, though. But, okay, the Olympics are losing major spots to primetime television to the likes of American Idol.
Who watches that?
we like American Idol.
Maybe.
And let's see, Grey's Anatomy was one of the bigger ones.
I actually don't know anybody who watches that.
Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah. Do you?
I know they have really good soundtracks that I view on iTunes
I've heard
sometimes.
that, yeah.
I watched, that Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl?
No.
Oh,
the Super Bowl
I would
had
expect
a commercial.
the Super Bowl to beat the Olympics.
The Super Bowl had a commercial for Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, okay.
And
it was on right after.
It was on.
Yeah.
I went home and watched that.
Some dude had a bomb in his chest.
It was pretty good. Yeah,
right?
he had a bomb in his chest.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
Nobody has a bomb in their chest and puts it on television.
If you get shot with a big grenade, it's probably not going to get lodged in your chest.
Oh.
And it was like where the chick's hand, she was holding it there, and if she removed her hand, it was going to blow up. And
surprisingly, the main character did not die.
Right.
And in the show.
Yeah. Well,
that would have been a sweet turn.
The chick removed her hand and then ran out because she couldn't handle it anymore, and some other person put their hand in. I don't know. It was a two-part episode. I only saw the first part. And I wasn't
That's okay.
Impressed. It's like ER.
So anyway, Grey's is beating.
Grey's is beating it.
ER is not.
Let me finish my statement.
Yeah, sorry.
Grey's is like ER, but a little bit better. But I still don't care.
Oh.
All right. So Grey's and then Desperate Housewives, of course, which that's how we feel about that.
Yeah. And the Grammys.
The Grammys, yeah, they were in a spot against the Olympics. And
I think.
I'm pretty sure the Grammys lost to the Olympics. I'm sorry, won to the Olympics.
Yeah. And basically, anything worth watching versus the Olympics wins. And things like According to Jim and Hope and Faith, anything like that loses, right?
Right. My problem with the Olympics is I can't go see what time a specific event is on.
They do that on purpose, you know.
Do they do it?
Yeah, they put the most important things at the end of the night so that you will sit at your stinking television for 4 hours just to see Sasha Cohen fall on her butt.
Right.
Honestly.
Which was sad. I really wanted her to win the gold.
I was kind of happy about that.
You're a jerk. No, I'm kidding.
I view it as a television show. I don't even think about it as real people.
I know. Well, that's part of the reason. Part of the problem with you in society.
It is true. It is true.
So
I have some counseling issues that need to be talked about.
All right. So it's not doing well as a broadcast.
Sure.
Why is it not doing well as a broadcast? Is it because the scheduling thing? Is it because it's not relevant? Is it because, I mean, why do you think
I think there's a couple reasons it's not doing well. One, it's happening like 10 hours before it's on television. So I can turn on my radio when I get out of bed in the morning, and I can hear about something I'm going to see at night already being done. I've known every time that Bodie Miller failed big time, I've known 10 to 12 hours before it was on TV.
I'll go to ESPN.com to check like a sports score or something like that. In front page, it's like she fell down at
I have to hide the computer from my wife because she'll cry if she knows what happened.
Does your wife watch the Olympics?
She loves it.
Okay.
This might be part of the reason that I have a problem with it because I'm pushed to the back room to watch things that matter, like Survivor. You know, I think Survivor matters a little more than the Olympics.
Shut up.
Some people probably would disagree with that.
Are you serious?
Okay, matters more or is more enjoyable to watch? This is the other reason I think
it's enjoyable to watch, dude.
Here's the other reason I think it's a problem for people, like the viewership's down. One, you can get the news all the time online.
Yeah.
Two, it's 4 hours, and we've moved to a society that can TiVo or DVR or whatever, everything, and watch it at their convenience.
Right.
Even my favorite shows, I might watch 2 or 3 days after they're on when it's convenient for me.
Right.
But if you've got 4 hours of Olympic coverage every night and I'm TiVo in it, like, when am I supposed to watch 24 hours of the Olympics?
Right.
And why would I want to watch 24 hours of? I can only go with the heart.
You're so opinionated on the subject and yet so wrong. It's kind of sad.
That's okay.
No, here's my thing. My life does not hinge on the Olympics, and I don't gather around the TV for 4 hours.
He does.
My life hinges on The Office right now, and that's what I wait for.
Too.
And that's another thing. If Olympics wasn't on TV, I would have watched 2 episodes of The Office this week and last week. And
maybe that's why I don't like the Olympics.
That's probably it. But that's, once again, beside the point. But the thing is, every 4 years, this comes around. So the past 3 years, I haven't watched figure skating. I don't care about figure skating. But when it comes around a 4th year, and there's chicks leaping off the ice and men as well. But
no, that's another story.
That's another story.
We're gonna get lots of email from that. If anybody watches this, we're getting it for that one.
And then they do 3 revolutions in the air and laying down or fall down. That's great. Skiing down a huge mountain at 60 miles an hour.
It's cool, right? It's cool, but it's like, do I need 4 hours of it for 15 days?
Yes, but here's the thing. Transitioning to a balanced society, like if you live in South Korea or you live in Czechoslovakia, like this is huge to you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But do I live in those places?
I know, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe we don't.
Maybe I should move there.
Maybe we care. Shut up. Maybe.
Maybe I have things in my life that are a little more important, like Survivor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Here's what I'm saying. I care more about like people on an island for 40 days trying to find fish or something to eat. Because
Survivor is such a bad example because it's such a terrible show.
Fine. Let's go with Dancing with the Stars. I don't watch that. That's as bad as the Olympics.
Okay, here's the thing. Granted, Bodie Miller cares more about his $2 million endorsement than he does about skiing down the hill for a gold medal. Right, but if you look at real life stories of people that are,
which is all the Olympics are, is a bunch of stories about people in a 30-second race.
Right. Yeah. But they're trying to achieve like their life's dreams. Although they're only 16, that's not a big life.
Good job, guys. It's all downhill from 16. So you guys get that gold or silver or 10th place?
I feel like they'll reach.
What are you gonna do? Okay, so here's some things we need to talk about. Yeah. The Olympics cost NBC to have the rights for the Olympics for 12 years, summer and winter games. It cost them $5.7 billion. For this year's Olympics alone, $613 million just for the Torino Olympics. Now, the profit that they're gaining off of the online stuff, $5 to $6 million. I think what they're trying to do is say, hey, crud, our ratings are down 50% from the last Olympics, but look over here, somebody visited our website. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, here's the thing, though. I'm down with that, and I see what you're saying, and I'm sure they are. That's what they're doing, but you don't know how much advertising revenue they're getting from the Olympics, so you can't say if they're making a complete loss or not.
Well, and let me tell you one thing else about this. Go ahead. The NBC had to guarantee a certain rating for their advertisers, which it's questionable whether they're meeting that. And so in most broadcast situations, the networks would have to offer discounted ads at another time or free ads at another time. And NBC's not doing that for their advertisers. They're basically kind of saying, thanks for advertising, and we don't care if you get what you paid for. I think it's a little shady. I can't say that I blame them because NBC's in a hard spot.
Okay. I'll just end this by saying idleonfox.com.
Idleonfox.com. Visit there. Vote tonight. Number 2. I'm number 2.
Idleonfox.com had 510,000 unique visitors, roughly a little under that. NBCOlympics.com, 2.3 million unique visitors.
Exactly.
All right.
It's still popular. All right, let's go to the next. All right, next story. I need to click on it so that I tell you the right things. This story is possibly my favorite of the week. Robbers take $43 million in England heist. Now, that's already a little inaccurate, and we'll get to the point here in a minute. But here we go. Authorities in Kent, England, have appealed to the public for help in solving the armed robbery of a security company which involved the kidnapping of a manager and resulted in the theft of £25 million, or about $43.5 million.
Quickly clarify that. £40 million was actually roughly stolen, which is about 78 or 87.
Yeah, something like that. A lot of money.
A lot of money, and it's cash too. Like we're not talking about like bonds and all that kind of crap. Like
no,
this is actual cash.
We're talking money.
This is the largest cash robbery in all of the UK ever.
Ever. Except for, but 2 years ago,
something similar happened.
Something similar happened. $44 million was robbed, and something of a similar kind of heist.
It is the same way. And I think they arrested some people for that, but on another website it says the case is still not closed yet on that thing. So we're assuming because we're the analysts in this case that
we're assuming you better get some better security cameras. I'm just telling you.
No, I was going to assume that's probably the same people that did it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's probably a better thing to say.
Add that together, just under 100 million USD, just over 100 million USD.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Cash. Marked it on
straight cash, homie. That's a lot of money.
Do you think he goes out to like the supermarket after that and whips out like a lot of like, what's the biggest denomination bill?
You know, if I had that, and I'm not saying I would ever make this kind of move in my life. I'm not robbing anything. I'm not going to the supermarket. I'm paying some schmo to go to the supermarket for me.
That's true.
I'm buying a person to go to the. Well, sure. I mean, you can't just all of a sudden have $100 million.
Right.
Like you and I having $100 million.
But here's the thing. Okay, a while ago, this is I saw this on like the Discovery Channel, some trash like that otherwise. Like I love
trash.
I love those. I like
Discovery Channel equals
No,
trash.
it does not. I love that
Smut
channel.
TV.
Dude.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so I saw it a while ago that like one of the older a big robbery that took place, like one of those true crime stories or whatever before. This guy robbed a train or something, not like on a horse, but you know, not old school, but he actually robbed a train, stole like a lot of money with his gang, and I think just about his whole gang got caught except for him, and he had like 10, 20, 30 million or something like that. He goes to Brazil, marries a Brazilian chick, they have a baby, and then Brazil has law where you can't be extradited, which means taken back to your country and arrested, if you have a child by a Brazilian native. So the dude got away with it. So he came out in the public and said, "Hey, I'm here. Sorry about your luck. But my money's fat, and so is my living."
So really, he got it off his chest. He confessed to his crime, and he's like, "What are you gonna do about it?"
And I loved it. The video they showed of him was him and his son walking along like beach at sunset,
lighting cigars with $100 bills.
Yeah, seriously.
This is something I find interesting. Like, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're cool, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's the thing. I love this story. I think Matt loves this story. We all love the story. Yeah. What does it say about us as people that we get so excited to hear that some dudes were?
So sad.
I mean, it's a sick story. Like they kidnapped this dude. They faked him out and made him feel like he was getting arrested. They kidnapped his wife and son. Threatened to kill him if the guy didn't do what they wanted him to do. Like, this is sick. It's sadistic.
It's bad. But I think my initial impression was reading through it, no deaths. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nobody got really hurt.
No one died.
A little counseling, and that kid's gonna be fine.
I know. That's such a sad thing, is it not?
It is. They've arrested 2 people, and there's all these sketches online. You can find them. They're hilarious sketches. Like, I don't think you're going to find anybody by these pictures. I drew better pictures in 8th grade art class. But this is kind of maybe tells you why these kind of heists are happening in England. The people who are on the case, this is the department at the police station. This is what it's called. Kent is the town. Their police's Serious and Major Crime Squad. Serious and Major Crime Squad? Are you kidding me? That's like how you talk about it to a 3rd grader.
Like you can pick up the phone. He's like tapping on. He's like, "Get me the Serious and Major Crime Squad."
Yeah. Oh, what the less like the middle crimes are like the occasionally mild crime squad.
Sort of bad.
Yeah.
Maybe something bad happens.
Oh, write it off as kids being kids squad.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
So do you think they're gonna get caught?
I hope not.
It's so bad.
I hope that in 2 more years, Ocean's 13 comes out. I mean, I hope they do this again. Like, I kind of like it.
What if they get the guy who started the heist to play the 13th person?
That'd be awesome.
In Ocean's 13.
That'd be awesome. What do you think? Julia Roberts will come back?
See, here's the thing: that anything fully bad happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the money's insured, so people's money isn't being lost.
Yeah, it's already paid back.
Right.
It doesn't cost anybody anything.
Nobody died. A guy in his family experienced a little trauma. 14 people were under lock and gun. But
hey, dude, if you're the guard and you had that happen, you can email us or call us.
Yeah.
And we will apologize for being jerks.
I feel bad about that.
But until we hear from them, I'm cheering for the bad guys.
It's kind of cool. I don't know.
I think we should move on.
I think we should move on.
We go to jail.
All right, that's.
We only cheer for bad guys from England.
Right.
Okay, moving on.
If that happened in the U.S., we'd be done. Okay, next.
All right, our last story today is a little bit more serious than the last couple that we've talked about, and it has to do with the war in Iraq. So here's the title: Iraq on brink of religious war. And then this is the story. Iraq is on the brink of a civil war with up to 50 Sunni mosques destroyed and 3 imams.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is either. Slain. I think they're like people who are like religious leaders.
Oh, they're religious, yeah. Slain
in a wave of violence to avenge the bombing of one of the holiest Shia shrines. So it's a Shiite shrine that had tombs of 2 people from 800 AD in it. Like, this is a
800. Is that really that old?
Yes.
That's pretty old.
That's an old shrine.
So that's how it started. It basically, well, obviously it's been going on for a while now.
Sure.
But it basically started with a major Shia shrine that had like this huge gold dome on it, and it was pretty much a landmark for all Shiites.
For thousands of years.
Yeah, and they made pilgrimages to it, kind of like Muslims do with or other Muslims do with
Mecca.
Mecca, yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, it's a big symbol of their religious sect.
Sure.
And that thing gets the roof blown off of it. Sure. Literally, the gold in top of it gets blown off.
Yeah.
And as a result, a wave of violence ensues, and they retaliate and then start blowing up Sunni mosques.
Yeah, just yesterday. Now, obviously, you watch this, it's not yesterday. But just yesterday, on Thursday, the 22nd or whatever, 23rd, I don't know what day it was. Anyway, there was over 100 people killed just from this violence. And there are people saying, hey, let's not have violence, let's protest, let's not fight. But this is the thing. What we don't really understand sitting over here in America when we watch it on CNN and we see these guys killing each other and stuff is that the Sunnis and the Shiites, they've hated each other for so long. And the Shiites, which are actually the majority there, they were even persecuted under Saddam's reign, where the Sunnis pretty much had all the power. And so now what happened in these elections that took place that everybody was really fired up about over here, the Sunnis lost almost all their power. And the Shiites have it now. So the Sunnis...
It's kind of like it flip-flopped,
yeah, it's flip-flopped. Yeah. And the only way the Sunnis can regain power or take back the power is to fight, fight for their power. And that Zarqawi guy, he's a Sunni as well.
Yeah, I'm talking about that in a second.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're cool. But basically, like, just to give you more examples of the violence that's going on, there are people that were protesting. I don't know which side was protesting which one, but there was people protesting in the street, and a guy just comes out with a gun and starts blowing away people that are just protesting, nonviolent protesting, and the guy's just blowing them away.
Journalists got killed in that attack.
Did they really?
3 journalists.
Okay, so here's as we look more at what it means to us, Zarqawi is a man who's pretty much sort of a higher person in the Al-Qaeda group of terrorists, and he is one of the two. Which one
is
Sunni. He's Sunni? Okay.
Yeah.
And so he is believed to be behind the original Shia bombing of the major mosque, and he is basically, well, he's one of our #1 enemies as well. He's responsible, well, we believe to be responsible for this whole insurgence that's going on in Iraq right now.
Sure.
You've seen it on the news, insurgents, uprisings, fighting U.S. troops, stuff like that. But what Andy and I were talking about earlier is that people don't realize that this insurgence...
Yeah.
You want to take it away?
The insurgency isn't necessarily like they're against us. They're against each other. And it's not that sure, they don't like Americans in there doing their thing. Right. But the deal is that it's a religious issue here.
It's a Sunni
Shiite war, basically.
Right. But the insurgents are mainly Sunni, right?
Yeah. So they might be attacking us, but the reason they're attacking us is because they don't want to lose their power.
Right. They don't want to lose their power. Exactly. So not only is the insurgents attacking the U.S. because they want U.S. out. They don't want U.S. to help
they don't want to mess up their business.
State Shiite power again. But they're also attacking Shiites. And so when you hear about insurgents, don't just automatically assume
they hate them.
Think that they just hate Americans and they're against Americans. They're against everybody who's going to take away their power, basically. Because they rule over iron fist with over the Shias or Shiites. And
there's a third party in there too, but I don't know who they are. There's a third group that is like never talked about.
Yeah, we don't know.
I think something interesting is that after this attack on this Shiite mosque or whatever it was, President Bush said that it was an evil attack, but we should think reasonably. Like, he's urging the people in Iraq to think reasonably about this attack. Like, you should know better than to react with violence to violence because they're just trying to mess everything up. It's kind of hard for me. Like, I understand what Bush is saying, and it's a lot easier on our side of the street or the world to say, hey guys, chill out and think reasonably. But when something so near and dear to you gets attacked that you feel like it's off limits, then you want to react in anger. Like, I'm not saying that the lives lost is the same, but as soon as September 11th happened, people are like, let's react to this, let's figure out what's going on, because all of a sudden I don't feel safe. And if you're a Shiite or a Sunni, I can see why
it's a natural human reaction. For example, like if you say something or do something to my fiance that's negative, whether it be violence or anything, my initial reaction is going to be anger, and I'm going to say something or do something to you. You know what I'm saying? That's just a natural human reaction. And so that's basically what we're seeing here in a large sense, because we're not just talking about smack or words or something like that. We're talking about huge amounts of violence, just mass destruction, and mass amounts of deaths.
And it's not even just the deaths. It's that it's done in direct, like, attack on your religious beliefs.
Right.
You know? Like,
it's complete intolerance.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that it's hard for, it's easy to take the first look at the story and just say that's chaos in Iraq and we don't understand what it's like.
Right.
And we just want to set up the government the way we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to take deeper looks at these things. Like, why is there violence? Why are they angry? What kind of religious implications are there? And it's kind of like, even though we're probably the most powerful party over there, we're kind of like third or fourth on the list of people whose interests are, being considered by these Sunnis or these Shiites or whatever.
Right. Like, I think we look at this and don't understand, and so we kind of write it off because we don't have any kind of understanding of that degree other than the war that's going on over there right now. But I think, like, a lot of people understand, though, what happens in, like, the Jerusalem-Palestine area. And I think it's equated to that just at such a higher escalated of violence.
Yeah.
Like, I think this makes the Jerusalem-Palestinian conflict look like, I don't want to say nothing, but look so minor compared to this.
It's at least not as crazy.
Right.
Right now.
Right now it's not as crazy. But I mean, it's the same level, if not more, of just like raw, utter hatred of other people, and just not willing to talk and work it out. I mean, once again, so much easier said than done. There's religious leaders that have announced or denounced the violence and called for the people to stop.
Sure.
But how does one or two people destroy an angry mob?
Kind of goes back to what we were talking at the very beginning about. Does one voice make a difference?
Right.
Does
it's
one
true.
vote or one person make a difference? And the people with power get to say.
And how do you convince something like if you anger an entire city that has one strong belief about something, you anger them. How does one person come to them outside of a movie where it's happened before? You know, how does one person come to them and say, "Hey guys," or five even, sit them down and stop them from reacting?
Can't we just be friends?
Right.
I mean, it's probably possible.
Right, but this is how civil wars erupt. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, this is how it takes, and that's what we're on. That's what they're on the brink of right now. A complete and utter civil war of severe proportions, and it's sad. And our hearts go out to them. But it's just,
I'm probably not the only person who thought this, but I was listening to the radio and they were talking about this, running interviews last night, and I thought to myself, now I'm not a big Saddam Hussein fan at all, but I thought to myself, this dude, this is what was going on with him there as well, but the chaos didn't seem to be there as much.
Well, because he was instigating he was pro-Sunni. That's what.
Right.
He was on the Sunni side. He was basically ruling over the Shiites with the iron fist.
It just makes you think about the whole situation differently.
I see.
Not being pro-Saddam or anything.
Right.
But like going, okay, like this makes a lot more sense about why or how or what was going on then.
Does a civil war need to take place?
It's so tough.
That's a good question. Like our civil war that happened long ago, sort of on the same type of, not on the same type of thoughts, but I mean that needed to take place. It kind of felt
like it had to take place.
It had to take place.
Revolutionary War, the same kind of deal.
Does this civil war need to take place? That we don't feel qualified enough to respond to.
No, I don't know.
But that's a serious question that really affects Muslim society. So that's it. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up this first episode. So go to socialtruth.com, register. It's in the top bar there. It says register. Sign up so you can post into all the stories, create your own posts of stories that we might want to put to the front page, and just really we want to create an environment for people to get on and just discuss these stories with us and with each other, and really just post how it applies to you, your life, and truth in general.
The more thoughts, the more opinions, the better.
The better. And we're going to take those thoughts as well as some of the calls, which I'll give you here in a second, and the emails, and we're going to really talk about it in the next episode and really kind of share other people's thoughts and opinions with you. Because it's not just us that are making the show, but it's you out there in TV land.
That felt so good.
Yeah.
I feel really warm inside about that.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm starting next show with your questions and comments. So feel free to do that. So you can email us at socialtruth@gmail.com. That should be down here. I've always wanted to point down here. That should be down here.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And you can also call us, leave a voicemail at 773-598-TRUE. That's 773-598-8783. Leave us a voicemail. And,
all you in the Chicago area, that's a local call.
And we're not in the Chicago area.
Not even close.
But you feel like such a dork. No,
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
Mean to do that.
So give us post some comments, shoot us emails, any questions, thoughts, comments that you want put on the show, as well as leave us a voicemail that you want played on the show, and we'll do that. And so until next time, I'm Matt Kitchen.
And I'm Andy Sikora.
And you'll see us on Social Truth.
I'm